This episode is sponsored by the Creatives Club. Susanna Stein is hosting a crafty retreat this fall called Weekend in the Woods, and here's what it's all about.
It's a 3-day crafting retreat in Tahoe, California. There's going to be 5 workshops, 2 of which are hosted by me, Andrea. Over $300 in swag from very well-known paper crafting and memory-keeping brands. And it's a retreat that gives us a time to relax and get crafty and learn new skills and techniques and make new friends.
Learn more at thecreativesclub.com.
Crafty babes, this is Andrea, and we're here to chat about all the ways we live our craftiest lives.
And I'm Melissa, and we're here to inspire you to craft in a way that works for you.
Hey.
Hey, welcome to episode 13.
Yeah, today we are going to talk about teaching craftiness. Because
tell me more.
Workshops are happening, and you've got some exciting news, and I've got some exciting news. So it's kind of perfect for us to chat about this topic.
I know, especially because of our sponsor for this episode. So why don't you tell us more about that? Because you're going to be going and teaching, and it's going to be super cool.
Yeah, so Susanna Stein, she's also known as Nudoso on Instagram, and she runs a creative club called the Creatives Club.
That is so genius.
A club for creative folk. But she is hosting a retreat this fall, and I am going to be teaching several workshops, and it's a whole weekend of like getting together with crafty babes, and she's teaching, and it's just, I have never taught in person, so this is going to be super like different.
Different.
I have taught online and with words and with video and in tutorials, but I have never stood in front of people and showed them how to be crafty.
I know. Especially because there's not going to be that many people there, which in a way is kind of nice, but then in a way is like, okay, if there's only, if there's just a small intimate group, it's like, okay, everybody's like all right here and we're all nice and cozy, and what if they smell my armpits?
I don't know what's worse, teaching in front of a bunch of people or a small amount. I'm not really sure yet.
I don't know yet either.
I know, but there is only, I think 18 total spots. So they're filling up. If you are in the area or willing to fly yourself to Lake Tahoe, number one, Tahoe in the fall is gorgeous.
That's where I got engaged.
Aw, it's just so pretty, and the trees are so tall, and the weather is so perfect, and we're at this hotel that's like this seriously woodsy, like modern cabin type of situation. It is super adorable.
I'm mega jealous.
I'm sorry. I want you to be there so bad.
I know. Well, if I win the lottery or something between now and then, I'll just boot someone out. No, I'm just kidding. I won't. But it's really going to be an awesome time.
It is. And I think that along with it being awesome, it's good for a lot of reasons, because I'm going to get to figure out if I like teaching in front of people.
Sure.
Because that is something that is a lot of work. There's a lot of preparation involved in that. You've got to kind of start at the very top and say, okay, like overall point of the class. What's the purpose of the class? What do I want them to learn? And then from there, you figure out what you want them to learn. And then you have to figure out how to break it down into categories that people can understand or that are easy to teach in little small chunks, right?
Yeah.
So you've kind of got to figure that out. It's like a tree with the branches. You got to start with the trunk and figure out what all the different branches are going to be. And then you need to figure out, well, what do you need, and what are the talking points, and how do I convey this with words when normally, the way that I teach people is I create something and then I kind of tell them how I've done it.
Yeah.
Which
so how do you do it kind of like, live in the moment?
Right. Right. And I find myself to be someone who is not super articulate. Like, I can't always formulate words. So yeah, it just makes me a tiny bit nervous that I will fumble, Sure. But again, it's all such a great reason that people are there. And I'm just super excited about being away with crafty people and being able to just relax in that environment and create and inspire people.
Yeah. That's going to be so cool.
That is going to be very, very fun. So again, thecreativesclub.com to see what it's all about and grab a ticket.
Yeah. And
then you, my friend,
that
are
is
about
me.
to embark on a little something yourself.
Ooh, yeah. I was asked by our women's ministry organizer at church to teach kind of an event. We call it a fellowship, but that sounds very like uber biblical. It's like one of those, we call them Christianese words where people are like, yes. So what? Really, it's just a bunch of ladies who snack and hang out. Because you always got to have food when you hang out. Always. And she plans different themes for every event we do. This month we're doing a tea. We've done a tea for the past several years, and it's so much fun. She used to live in England and Scotland and Turkey, and actually I don't think she lived in Scotland. I think it's England and Turkey and Germany. So she has this just collection of teas and teacups and hats and floral pins, and it just ends up being like we kind of dress up fancy, but then really we're just like a bunch of country bumpkins who pretend we're fancy. It's so much fun though. But the June retreat, she decided she wanted to do kind of a focus on journaling, and she said when she thought about journaling, she thought about me because I'm a little loco about Bible journaling because
and you don't hide it, which is great.
Oh no, I am not ashamed. I don't do it super often because I don't really have a reason to, but I have brought my journaling Bible to church, and I get so many like, why is your Bible ginormous? What are those things sticking out of it? Why does it look like there's like a chia pet growing out of the top of it with arms? Wow. Why is it glittered? Why is it flowers? Why did you paint in it? What? Who? Why? And so everybody knows that I'm, the crazy Bible journaling lady. And so I'm really excited.
What an awesome thing to be, though. To be known as that. That's awesome.
It's pretty much the coolest thing ever. And so I've obviously been thinking about what exactly am I going to say? And what am I going to teach people, because I'm very confident in my own Bible journaling abilities because I know it doesn't have to be perfect. But then like when you're trying to teach other people, you're like, okay, I actually have to be legit or something.
Yeah. You have to have something to teach them.
Yes. And so I'm like, okay, what exactly am I going to teach? And so whenever I've taught things before, I've, written blog posts, or I've done a limited amount of YouTube videos or just written papers or kind of explain things to people or whatever. And an easy way to kind of walk through a topic for me is to use the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. Yeah. And then how is stuck in there on the end.
The 5 was.
5 was. 5 was. So then I, in thinking through that, going, okay, who? I'm going to explain a little bit about me and my background, how long I've been journaling, how long I've been Bible journaling, and then what, explaining what Bible journaling is and kind of some things you might use. When, I'll probably talk about when I Bible journal, how long it takes, which...
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, which is not as long as some people might think. I think you can fit little chunks in here and there. It doesn't have to be this hours-long process, especially if you're not ultimately super concerned about your end result. It's really more about the process. And yes, you are thinking about design elements and colors and different things like that, but you're really kind of just walking through a process. And so just how to fit Bible journaling into my day.
Right. How you get it into your day. Exactly.
Yeah.
Just working it in.
Yep. And then where, I'll probably share about how I organize. I mostly have my supplies on a Rascog cart, or when I first started, it was all probably in a smaller little bag, and how I kind of make my Bible journaling easy and timely as far as having it all organized so that I can just fit it into those little bits in my day.
Right.
And then why, and I'll explain about how I take what I'm learning on my walk with God, what He's writing on my heart, my prayers, my thoughts, what's kind of happening in my life. I mean, I joke, but kind of like some people say nothing is safe from scrapbooking, I also believe that nothing is safe from Bible journaling. Like I have Bible journaled about my kids are driving me crazy, or a friend is going through a really hard time, or this is an amazing day, or thank you, Jesus, for French fries, or...
And ketchup.
And ketchup, because you have to have both. Whatever that may be. And so my Bible journal for me is basically just a journal that happens to be a Bible with margins that gives me a little bit more room for painting, embellishing, and doing different things like that. And it, when I started Bible journaling, it kind of like reignited my craftiness. I feel like I've always been a little bit crafty, but then I didn't kind of have a reason to for a long time, or I didn't think I did. And then when I read it, or when I discovered Bible journaling, I went, paper crafting, and it opened up everything for me. And so my Bible journaling is a mesh of paper crafting and of things I'm learning from my Bible study, or things that are just happening in my life or whatever.
Right. On your heart, things that are kind of in front of you.
Yeah. And then how, as for my material and stuff like that, I'm thinking I'll probably have a verse or two or a passage or something that we'll kind of journal together. And I'll probably demonstrate a couple of techniques, like the card scraping thing, or stamping, or washi tape, or, something that everybody can easily do.
Without a lot of skill, if they're not artsy folk.
Yep. And I'll probably bring my Bible journals just for people to flip through. I have nothing super personal that I didn't like cover over something. Right. I'm pretty open with my life and my walk and stuff.
Especially with those people.
Yes. Absolutely. And so, I'll bring those, and then probably have some sort of handout that has information and resources and, pointing people towards Illustrated Faith, because they obviously have the expertise and the heart and the inspiration and all of those things. I learned so much of what I learned from them. And so being able to give them some of those resources and point them in those directions, kind of bring something like that. Now, what I don't know, or what I'm not sure about, and I kind of wanted to pick your brain about, is what materials to have people bring, whether or not I should have them bring anything, what materials to provide. Do I need to provide paint for everyone? Do I need to provide stamps for everyone? Should I send people home with things if this is a free class? Should I not? So that's kind of what I wanted to pick your brain about, because I don't really know.
Well, two things came to mind. When you're doing an event like this, you can always ask for sponsors. So you can ask for people to provide a few things that you could put into a little kit for your attendees. So that's something that you could do. You could also, Illustrated Faith has licenses, I think, but it might only be for the workshops. But you could, do a workshop license, and, you pay a little bit more for the license, but it means that you can reproduce it for your attendees.
Yep. Okay. Give everybody like an alphabet pack or a,
or
something,
printables.
or
You have the permission to print printables for others, because that technically now it wouldn't be for personal use.
Yes.
Right? You could bring the stuff that you've already printed and let people grab at it and let people pick the things. Like maybe you could put them into a few categories, like, nature, words, shapes, plain or something like that, and have things that people could pick through. And then the paints thing, what came to mind was, you could get the little dollar store palettes, the little plastic palette plates, or even paper plates. Bring all of your paints, and then let people bring their paper plate to your paint station and let them squirt a little bit and bring it back to their table.
Because paints last for stinking ever.
They do. And you can show them an example if you really only need like a quarter size.
Yeah.
And then you could really use anything for the card swatch, scraping.
Have everybody bring like a, and that's what I thought about, is having people bring a couple things, especially I know there's a couple ladies who do have journaling Bibles or who have some scrapbooking stuff. And so what I thought about saying is, one, if you have a journaling Bible, bring it. If not, what I will probably do is just have some blank paper that people can practice. I mean, I will have some blank paper for people to practice techniques on. But then I thought about, even just printing out a Bible verse and just going, you can kind of just art journal around this page.
Yeah.
And
that
just
would be
put it in a journal or something.
Yeah,
and
if
then,
you printed it on a piece of cardstock and made it like the size of a, Bible page, like a 6x8 or something, and just left them with just the words.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be a really cool thing for everybody to have if they didn't want to go directly in their Bible. And you could do 3 or 4 of those, and you could do 3 or 4 techniques.
Yes.
And they can choose whichever, grab whichever verse you like, and then we're going to do the, paper towel technique, or we're going to do the bubble wrap, or, the cool Shauna things.
The cool Shauna things. I know. And I figure I'll probably try to keep it relatively simple. Like I may not even, I haven't decided whether I will try to focus on showing them lots of different techniques, or whether I will focus on showing them how to do one whole page. Because what I may do is go, okay, I'm just going to walk you through how you might do 1 page in your Bible, and then maybe 1 page in a prayer journal, like a blank notebook of some sort.
Right.
A sketchbook or whatever. And then just go, okay, if you want to put any paint down, put some paint down. If you want to layer some flatter things, if you want to, you could write the thing here, put a big bold word, put some accents, add a tab, date it, and kind of show how that would look as a start to finish process, which is a little bit more what I'm leaning towards. And then depending on how popular it is, or if she wants me to do something else in the future, maybe I'll do like a tips and techniques for Bible journaling class later, and just go, okay, now I'll show you lots of different things when you're kind of even comfortable with the idea, because some people think they might be, and then they're not. And then some people are, as long as it doesn't cover words. And some people just want to do it in a prayer journal or whatever. And so just kind of giving people an overall general view, and then going, okay, take that and make it work for you.
Right. And so I think at the bare minimums, you have to provide people with the option for several different kinds of pages, like embellishments that they can glue in, stamps that they could stamp in, or paint that they could paint in, maybe keeping it real simple.
Totally.
And then, just kind of letting them choose what practice. And then, yeah, maybe like you could practice all 3 techniques and then do one Bible page front to back, but letting them pick whichever technique they really like the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're still kind of going through the process of, making something colorful, writing your words that you want to write, and decorating. Like those 3 things are kind of always a part of it, so that's what's fun kind of about the planning process, about any kind of workshop, is narrowing it down to the things that are gonna, not necessarily make an impact, but just what are the things that you want them to know. And that's what's so hard about it too, though, is like, how do I know what they want to know? I don't know.
Totally. It's
I'm
quite
excited about that.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And it's been something, if I were to teach on anything, this would be what I feel most comfortable teaching on, because it comes most naturally for me. Mostly, I think, because it's not a scrapbook, because in a way it kind of is, but not like all my friends and family are going to be looking through my Bible journals. I consider them more of like I love to look through them, and I would not care if my kids wanted to look through them when they got older or now. I don't know why they would want to necessarily now.
It's not really for the future. It's for you now.
Yeah. And but then in the way later future, I could see my kids going, oh, this is a piece of Mom. This is what she loved to do. And here are so many of her thoughts and prayers. And oh, look, she was praying for me during that time or whatever. And, But really, it's mostly about the process. And then I do like going back and looking at them, and especially because I'm looking back through and going, oh yeah, that was tougher than I expected. Or because it's not that you blank out necessarily, but I think sometimes too, when you're Bible journaling, if you're I don't know, if you're really focusing on what God is telling you or what you're thinking or whatever, you're kind of like in the zone, and you're just kind of journaling and you're painting and you're doing all these things, and you're done and you're like, oh, look at this thing I made. Like I think of the guy from Heroes. Did you ever watch Heroes?
Oh, we did watch Heroes.
Yeah. So I think of the painter guy who would, his eyes would glaze over and he'd go into this.
He'd black out and he'd paint.
So that's what I think of sometimes when I Bible journal, is I just like go into the zone, and then I'm done and I'm like, whoa, magic.
I know. And that's kind of why I'm really happy that they thought of you for the Bible journaling, just because it is so natural for you. And you've said that a lot. And I appreciate that when Susanna asked me to teach a couple of classes, she's like, well, what do you want to teach? And I'm like, well, let me figure out. I am not going to be teaching layering or clustering or splattering. So we've got those off the list for sure.
Because there's nothing worse than trying to teach someone something that you don't feel super confident in.
No. Right. So the things I'm teaching are really fun. I'm teaching a junk journal class.
Yes.
So I'm like, woohoo about that, because we're going to have this paper bar. It's just going to be so much fun, and people are going to have freedom to kind of grab stuff. And then I'm also teaching a class called Color Rush.
Fun.
Because number one, I love football, and Color Rush is the Thursday night games where they wear the uniforms that are all one color.
Yeah.
So I kind of got the idea from that. Sorry, NFL, if I'm impeding on any kind of copyright infringement or anything.
I have a strange feeling they probably will never listen to our podcast.
Oh, thank God.
Pressure's off.
It's about how to find the colors in your photos.
Yeah.
And then finding supplies out of the colors that you may not really be seeing in your photos. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be just a kind of a color theory tutorial, but then also a challenge.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so finding the things for people to have to bring, photos, and what do I provide, and what are we, so yeah, breaking all that down is kind of at the point that I'm at now, even though this class is, this workshop is several months away. These kinds of things, they creep up.
Take time.
And exactly. They take time. It's not something that you can plan the night before. It's not even something you can plan the week before.
No.
And so we've been doing a lot of communicating over the last couple of months, just about all the little things and details. And that's, I think, too, what's really important about these kinds of things is appreciating all of the work that other people do to teach you things.
Absolutely.
Every time I watch a tutorial, knowing that I've done one, I just go, wow, gosh, they really put a lot of work into that.
Yeah. Especially when it's I say but when it's free content on YouTube or an idea that someone just throws a video together for on Instagram or whatever. Like, those are things that you totally don't realize how much work goes into them until you've done one. And then you go, oh, thank you so much for taking the time to show me that. And it is so helpful, and it makes being creative that much more easy, quote unquote. It makes it much more successful for you to be able to do that. And I think that's what any of us crafty babes is, that's all we could wish for, is to make someone more successful in their crafty endeavors, so that they're crafting, like we talk about in our intro, crafting what inspires you and crafting a life, your life that you love in a way you love. And that's, I think, what we're all here to do.
I agree. I think that making the world a craftier place is
making the world a craftier place, one craft at a time. I don't even know, but is
that our new motto?
It just, when you said making the world a craftier place, I just thought of, one blank at a time. It's going to be anything.
Ooh, we can fill in the blanks, and it could be different.
We could change it every week.
Oh my gosh. I think that we just found our outro, girlfriend.
I know.
And the world gets to hear it develop as it happens.
As time goes on. We're like a teenage girl in the prime of puberty. Why that just came out of my mouth.
That is rad.
I have no idea.
Well, I think that this is a topic we're going to probably have a bit of conversation about, because I have a feeling there's a lot of people, in your situation, that have been asked to do something like that.
And who've never done it before.
Because somebody else sees that they are good at it.
Yeah.
And so maybe we can ask for questions about, going into depth a little bit more about this topic. If you guys have questions about, just in general, if it's, getting over the fear of talking in front of people, we could hone in on this if you guys want.
Sure.
If you have additional questions, ask them either in the YouTube comments or in our Hey Crafty Babes Facebook group, or
on Instagram, or, when we post it, our episode goes up after you listen, sometimes girls will pop in and say, hey, just listen to it or whatever. And we love chatting with you, even though we are not the best at keeping up with comments sometimes. Mostly just speaking about me. The moments just slip away really, really quickly. And then it's the end of the day and I'm like, what's my name? And where's my pint of ice cream?
Yeah, I've been bad about posting the share thread, and thankfully nobody's like, where's the share thread for the week? I just I seem to think about it on Tuesdays. I've said that I'm going to put it up on Mondays because that's the beginning of the week for most of us. But Tuesdays are when I remember. So I can't seem to remember on Mondays.
Then it's a Tuesday to Monday week.
I guess. But I've already made all of the headers for like the next 4 months.
Yeah, poop.
So I'm not redoing those.
Nah.
I'll just, if it goes up Tuesday, it's all good, because I know y'all are creating on the weekends and on Mondays, so it doesn't really matter. when it goes up.
This is true.
I do just want a place for us to share, though, because I like seeing that everybody's kind of working on different stuff. Like, we had a girl working on a crocheted shawl for her little girl.
So
and
cute.
we had somebody make a barn door. I mean, that kind of creativity is all the kind of crafty babe stuff that...
Oh, yeah.
I know we talk a lot about memory keeping and paper crafting, but...
Yeah.
I love that people are creative in a lot of different ways.
It's so fun to see.
Agreed. Cool.
All right, girl.
All right, girl. Well, this will wrap up this episode. And again, just come join us on the Hey Crafty Babes Facebook group. There's a link in the show notes. There'll also be a link in the show notes to our sponsor for this episode. And I guess what we're doing is keeping the world crafty, one something at a time.
One episode at a time.
Great way to start it out, girlfriend. High five.
We'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.